On this James the Bike Guy, we take a look at a killer new bike from Specialized. This is the 2020 totally revised Specialized Fuse. So we're going to take a look at some of the features, talk about the frame design, why this one totally gets it nailed, and then of course, we'll find out what it weighs. So be sure to click the subscribe button and watch along with me to check out this new bike. To give some backstory on the Specialized Fuse, it's a 27.5 plus trail bike, meaning 27.5 wheels, 2.8 or 3.0 tires in it, and it's been around for several years now. Specialized has carried the same original frame through quite a few different component iterations on the bike, and while other brands like Trek with the Roscoe and others like that have come out in competition. Now, what's really neat is in 2020, Specialized has taken all the revisions that other companies and riders have been looking for out of their entry-level 27.5 plus bikes and have dialed it into this one. And in fact, at a pretty reasonable price. At the time of posting this, Specialized is running these for $12.50, and we'll go over the features and the specs, but that is a really great value of this bike. Now, the cornerstone of this bike is of course its frame, and this is using Specialized A1 aluminum. So this is a very nicely made aluminum frame. It's going to have a tapered 1.125 to 1.5 head tube. It's going to go down to a 73mm threaded bottom bracket. But what's really neat about this is it's going to be a much nicer geometry than before. So this bike is actually going to be set up with 130mm of front travel with a 66-degree head tube angle. So a nice and slack head tube angle, and on all sizes it's actually running a 74-degree seat tube angle. So that means this bike is going to be at home, descending, it's still going to climb pretty well, and with a 430mm chainstay in the back, it's still going to be playful enough to have lots of fun. The other huge upgrade for 2020 is they go away from boost QR to now boost through axle. So this is a true 148 boost in the rear end. And then of course the Judy Silver, which we'll get into later, has a 110mm boost front hub. Now of course the bike is going to be set up with totally internal cable routing. It's a really nice setup on this bike. And then it's going to run 30.9 seat tube, a 30.9 seat post, which is of course internally dropper post routed. I really like how they've smoothed out the welds on this bike, and just the look of this thing is really awesome. Now for drivetrain specs, it's going to be set up with a Deore 10-speed rear derailleur, and that's going to go through an 1142 Sunrace cassette, which is linked up to a Stout 3-piece crank with a 32 narrow wide chainring. So a basic drivetrain, but a really nice setup for this type of bike. Now for wheels, this is going to be set up with Specialized own Stout tubeless rims with a Stout hub, and in the back it's going to be 28 hole with 14 gauge spokes, and then up front it's going to be a 24 hole with the same tubeless ready Stout 38mm wide rim. Now for tires, it's running the grid version of the tires, so the more durable tubeless ready versions. But up front, you've got the Butcher grid in a 27.5 by 2.8. And then in the back, you've got one of my favorite new trail tires for the rear, the Slaughter. So this is a 2.8 as well. Nice knobs on the outside. And then of course, that kind of faster rolling knob system in the center. For a seat post, this is running the Trans X 30.9 seat post in an extra small to small. This is going to have 100mm of travel. In medium and larger, it's going to come with 120, so tons of seat post. And then of course, you've got the Bridge 148 saddle on the bike. For cockpit parts, this is going to be a Stout cockpit, so a 31.8mm stem, as well as handlebar. And the handlebar itself is going to be 780mm wide in the medium through extra large, and then 750 on the small and extra small. For controls, of course, you've got that Shimano Deore 10-speed shifter, and then of course it's going to be set up with the Tektro M275 hydraulic disc brakes. Now these are set up with a 180mm rotor up front and then a 160mm rotor in the rear. Now for the fork, this is where, especially at its price point, you get a hella nice fork. So this is actually set up with a RockShox Judy Silver TK. That means this is an air spring fork with a 42mm offset and 130mm of travel. Basically, you're going to get set up with a turnkey lockout, and then you've actually got an adjustable air spring. So this is an air fork on an entry-level price point plus size bike. Now riding this around, I was really amazed at how well this rode. You can definitely tell that they've fixed the geometry on the bike. The front end is certainly quite a bit longer, and it feels a bit more confident. So now that we've taken a look at all of the specs and features of the 2020 Specialized Fuse, let's go ahead and find out what it weighs. The Specialized Fuse in a size large is going to come in and weigh 31.9 pounds. So go ahead and let me know your thoughts on this newly revised 2020 Specialized Fuse. Let me know if you think that it's a real worthy upgrade. What would have you liked to see different? And then while you're at it, be sure you hit the subscribe button as well as hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video.